Hi, everybody. Welcome to our bonus episode of Parent Coaches Unleashed. Hi, Carrie.
Hi, I'm so excited for this bonus episode.
I am too, and this is what we're going to be talking about. So, Carrie and I have been discussing what's been coming up a lot with our clients. And one of the things we keep seeing and hearing about is self advocacy. When and how do you help your child find their voice and speak up for themselves? We there I've actually spoken with parents whose kids are afraid to make doctor's appointments, make um, any kind of appointments, talk to teachers for
Haircuts.
themselves,
Yeah.
haircuts, any wide variety of appointments. Kids are afraid to get on the phone with people they don't know, afraid to have a conversation. And Carrie, you were just telling me a really um, great example of self advocacy dealing with one of your clients. I'm going to let you tell the listeners the scenario about that. I'm going to ask you to share that.
Sure. So I have a client with a daughter diagnosed with ADHD, and I will explain what we talked about from a coaching perspective, but I want to also say that I do understand this on a deeper level as a parent, as I have a child with ADHD as well.
Okay.
So the mom and I were talking, and it seems like she is making a lot of decisions on behalf of the daughter.
How old is your client?
She is in ninth grade, so it's at 14, 14,
Okay.
15.
Yep.
Okay. So, and rightfully so, she is advocating for her child because she feels these are the things that will help her child be most successful in the school system.
Okay.
Yet, what I'm noticing is that the daughter is not being involved in some of the process where I feel that it would really help her begin to advocate for herself in school, and then that would carry over into out of school activities as well. So I'll give some examples. So a couple of the things is the parent has decided and worked with the school and the teacher where she should sit in the classroom. So in the front of the class, so she's not distracted. Also, when she should have tutoring, how often tutoring should be. She's doing the scheduling for her. And then studying in terms of inside the house, like where in the house she should study, what time of day she should study. So,
So your
yes,
client was making all of these decisions for her
correct,
child. Okay, got it.
correct, correct. And as we started to talk, I made some suggestions that, is this a discussion you're having with your daughter, or were these rules, let's call them, like decided, by you and your husband? And she said, no, we made these decisions on behalf of the daughter.
Hmm.
So I know, and I'm familiar with the IEP meeting
Yes.
that you
Yep.
have with school. And it dawned on me also because in looking back at my own child, you know, why my son was not involved in the meeting. Like he had his own meeting, and then I had one with the school counselor and a teacher that was his representative. But I suggested to my client, like, make the recommendation for the meeting to be together. Like, you and your daughter should be in the IEP meeting together so you guys could talk about the accommodation. So the daughter could listen to what the counselor was suggesting, and then she could have her own voice to say, yes, I need this accommodation. No, I do not need, or to see what is all available and not it just being decided for her.
I think that's a great idea. How did she respond to that?
She was very open to it, very
Okay.
open to it. And so, what that does is that allows the child to hear, okay, these are my accommodations. I have a say, yes, I need that one. No, that one, I don't believe that I need. But you know what? She knows in the future, should she need extra time on exams or homework assignments, that she can ask for it. So a lot of times they don't even know what it is and what the accommodations can be to actually be able to speak up for themselves. So this has allowed the daughter to now feel more comfortable going to her teacher on her own to ask for these things. And so, what that does is it allows the child to become more comfortable speaking up for themselves.
Sure.
And it's not, embarrassing, or it's not shameful that, you know what, I learned differently than maybe some of the others in my class. I need something a little extra. So these tools have been very helpful. But what I also see is that now she is feeling more comfortable even outside of school. So tutoring, making her own schedule with the tutor and not having the mom schedule it for her. Now, I know there's a lot of collaboration that needs to be involved, especially if she doesn't drive, right? The timing, is the tutor coming over? Are they meeting somewhere? The mom might have to drive her, but that just opens for the level of communication that needs to happen as our children are growing. These are the things they need to be thinking about on their own in making plans and communicating with all the parties. And, in today's world with phones and texting, it should be a lot easier than it was, when we were kids having to coordinate people.
Well, that part, yes, but because of the phone, I feel like it also makes having a conversation face to face that much more difficult for them.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about kids, young adults, teenagers, whatever the age is, like having a conversation, like, you know, what are the times when a child should be having the conversation with an adult that's not their parent? So, for example, making a doctor's appointment.
You know what, Carrie? I think it starts even before that.
Okay,
Think
let's
about
go back.
think about your first interaction with other adults. A preschool talking, having encouraging your child to go up and talk to their teacher, or when you're out for dinner, have your
Yeah,
child order for
ordering.
themselves. One of my favorite stories is when my middle guy started ordering for himself, and he wanted a hamburger, and they asked him how he would like it cooked, and he said raw instead of rare. So but y that's when
That's
you
how they
start.
learn. Yes, that's how they learn to interact with other adults that aren't their family.
Yes, it starts as early as that. Even if they're not reading yet and can't read the menu, and the waitress or waiter comes over to take their order, just tell them, you tell them that you want, whisper in their ear, "This is what you wanna eat today," or, "This is what you decided you wanna have," and let them speak for themselves. Give them their voice.
Yeah, allow them. Here are the options on the menu for a child who's not reading,
Right,
and
read
here
it
are
to
the
them. Yep,
options. What would you like to have today? Right?
yep.
Giving them choices at an early age allows them the independence, and it's where they start learning to make decisions.
Yeah,
Now, I know
absolutely.
some families, right? It's sometimes ordering, you want to check with your parents because of money, how expensive meals might be. So a kid might actually look at the parent like, can I order this, or what should I get?
Right.
So
That is true.
that's something that the parent and the child should have a conversation about, but still allow them to make the decision and then be the one to order it from the wait staff. That builds a lot of confidence that we
Yes,
might not even
100%.
realize as parents.
And it's a simple one. Even if it's, you're not in a restaurant, if you're going up to a counter to order something, whatever it is, it's a great place to start having
Right.
your child find their voice.
Right. If you're in a store with your child and they have a question about something, or does the shirt come in another color, you know, guide them to go up and ask the salesperson the question themselves. Kind of resist that urge to do it for them because it comes so naturally to us as parents because we know how to do it.
And you say what you just said, something so important, guide them. So when our children are ready to make their first haircut appointment or their first doctor's appointment, a tutoring appointment, whatever it is, we can't just expect them. It can be a little daunting. You're calling this person or however it is that you're communicating and asking for something that your child has never had to do before. So sitting with them, maybe the first time, here, watch me, this is what I do. Then the second time you try it, I'm going to be right here with you. We're going to do it on speakerphone. I remember when my son was going through the college application process and we had some questions regarding financial aid. He started the phone call and he would let the person know, like, I don't know a lot about our family finances. Is it okay that I have my mom here with me? Can you talk to her as well?
Yeah,
You
that's
know, just,
perfect.
yeah, just speakerphone is there, have a joint conversation, whatever it is to have your child feel comfortable in that situation. Because what do we do when we're uncomfortable? We avoid it.
Avoid,
We don't
yeah,
want to do it. I mean, it's so much easier to just walk away from it. But if you help them and take away that uncomfortable feeling of having a conversation with a stranger,
yeah.
you know,
Another example or another way would be to role play with your child, right? So before making the phone call, you could role play. Yep, right. They're making the phone call. You could be the person on the other end of the phone, maybe at the doctor's office. Answer the
yep,
phone like you're at, the
right,
receptionist or the person working, the front desk, what questions that they might ask. And
right.
that's a big one with
Right, because you have insurance
doctors,
questions,
right?
the doctors, scheduling,
And a
some
lot
of
of
the
the times that kids don't want to do it or make an excuse why they can't is like the fear. What questions are they going to ask? Like, I don't
right,
know.
fear of
But
the unknown.
right, but that's how they learn. And it's okay too to share with them, like, well, when I call the doctor, sometimes I don't even know the answers to some of the questions right away. Like, I might have to say, hold on a minute, let me go grab that or look for that, or I have to call you back. So that
That's
happens
another
to
that's
adults
another
all
great
the
tool.
time.
Right, that's another great tool for them to learn how to use. You know what? I need to get back to you on that and go check the answer. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
A big one for us was also as they started driving and becoming responsible for their cars is the mechanic.
Yes. Yes.
And that's a tough one, even for adults, because nobody wants to be taken advantage of. You don't want your child to be taken advantage of. And I think they need to go, when they go for their first time independently, they need to know exactly what is being done, not to have anybody try to sell them something that they don't need. Just, this is all you need, and that's it.
Yeah.
And if you
I
have any
mean,
questions, I'll be there. You can call me, but otherwise, this is what you tell them. This is what you're there for.
yeah. And I even my boys are in their 20s, and so they have their own vehicles. They still will ask us a lot of questions, or when they go to take something their car in for service, sometimes they'll check with us beforehand, like, about how much do you think that should cost? Or when they get there and they're given certain answers, they'll say, you know what, I have to just check with my dad. Let
Yep.
me get back to you. Or, you know what, I'm going to take it for another quote. And even if it's not what you're really doing, to just give yourself the time to say, you know what, you don't have to say yes to everything or get scared, like, oh, they know more than me, so I'm just going to say yes and take care of it. Like, it's okay to say, you know what, I'm going to get back to you. I'm not really sure right now.
Absolutely.
And
I
double
think
check.
it's, yep, and I think it's great that your boys still feel comfortable asking you those questions. I'm not 100% sure, what do I do?
Yeah.
I think
I mean,
that's
that's part of adulting and also owning your own vehicle, right? Like that
Right.
comes with it is the responsibility, not, and I know like it's probably easier for a lot of parents given, some might still be at that age be paying for the car or paying the lease or whatever it is. So,
Right.
they want to get in there and make the decisions or take care of things for the young adult because money's involved. But you know what? We have to allow them, even if they made a bad choice. And I
Right.
know, right,
Which it
with
happens. I mean, it's
money,
going to
it
happen.
gets, you know, parents sometimes get a little stressed. But if they made the wrong choice and they spent more money on the tires, they only needed two, they got four, then you'll work that out. You have to work that out with your child. But that's the
Right.
only way to learn is for them to make the good choices and the bad choices, but it's doing it on their own.
The independence of it. Yes.
Yeah.
And you're setting them up for success. Even if there are failures, let's be real, there will be failures. How else will they learn if they don't fail?
Yeah.
So, but you're setting them up for a lifetime, not just that one time at the mechanic, but for all future endeavors that involve them speaking up for themselves and advocating for themselves.
Right. And, every parent has to decide based on their children when they're ready for certain levels of responsibility. But as soon as you see that your child, whether in elementary or middle school, are showing an interest in something, so maybe it's their hair, right? Like they want this certain haircut and they're following someone on Instagram and like they're they're showing the interest, so give them that chance to
I
say,
think
okay,
TikTok. I think the young kids are on TikTok
all
these days.
right, so now I aged myself, but yes, on TikTok they've seen the new hairstyle, which actually isn't the new hairstyle. Like not even getting a haircut because it's that
Well, I
bushy,
feel like the '80s mullet came back for the boys, so
permy, whatever's going on. But
uh,
right, they want a perm. They should be
maybe
able to
they
call.
don't want haircuts because they're afraid to call and make the appointment for themselves.
No, that's an investment. That perm that a lot of the boys now are getting, that's a whole process. So if
Yeah.
they want a perm, guide them to make the phone call and schedule their own appointment.
Or maybe try to talk them out of getting the perm and just get a haircut.
It's their hair.
That
Let
is
them
true. They
decide.
can make their own choices.
Yeah.
Good point, Carrie.
So anyway, so what 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 we're talking about here is helping teach self advocacy. And the long term goal is, when they leave your home, so whether it's to go to college, go in the military, work full time, whatever it is, you have helped set them up to be able to advocate without you, right?
Yes.
We're not going with them. And even though we're available by phone, we're available by a quick text, they need to be set up to and comfortable with doing these things by themselves. So these little things along the way that, yes, it might be really easy for the parent to go in and send an email to the teacher in middle school for the child. It's
Well,
not really helping your child when they're getting ready to launch, right? You're not going to email the boss at work.
I
I mean,
think we have both met
I
some
hope you're
people
not.
along the way who might take it to that level. But you're right. So and that's another great example, contacting teachers. Teach your kids how to advocate for themselves early. Middle school, if they need help, if they're unhappy with a grade, prepare them. Like Carrie suggested earlier, role play. This is something you can say to your teacher if you're not happy with with the way you were graded with an assignment, speak up for yourself. Here's the thing though, you as a parent have to be okay with it. You have to listen, you tried your best, you weren't successful. That's not You're not always going to be successful in getting what you want. Okay. You as the parent have to be okay with that they tried themselves and they didn't succeed, and that's okay.
Right. I
What
had another, when we're talking about grades and talking to teachers, if I could
Sure, go
interject.
jump in. Yeah.
I had another client who was so enraged that her child majorly bombed an exam and had all the excuses as to why and why it was unfair. And the parent wanted to go to the teacher and have a meeting and then even get the vice principal involved. They were so upset. Well, we talked about it and I asked how the child felt about it. And honestly, the child was not that upset. Yes, they were disappointed, but I think they were more disappointed in how the parent felt about their bad grade and not
Huh.
that they actually got a bad grade. And I think as parents, I can understand being in that position. But
Right.
as a coach, I was just trying to really point out that maybe the parent needed to set aside their own feelings about it and allow the child, if they didn't feel as strongly that they wanted to go speak up for themselves and talk about the bad grade, that they were willing to just accept it, that maybe the parent just needed to let it go because what was it saying, like, what was the parent saying about the child if they were going behind their back or around what they really wanted to do
Right.
on their behalf.
How
And
was that parent in that moment really serving their child?
yeah,
They weren't.
so, but we understand, right? Being
Yeah, we've all
parents
been there.
and
Sure.
coaches, right? There's only, right? We can provide the guidance and show the spectrum of choices, but in the end, parents, you're gonna make your own choices, but hopefully you can try to set aside your emotion from what's really going on and really listen to what your child wants you to do or doesn't want you to do on their behalf.
Absolutely. That is another brilliant point by Carrie. Talk to your child. Have a discussion around how you're going to proceed in those situations before you actually proceed. And listen. Don't just talk. Listen to your child. Hear what they're saying to you and respect that. Respect what they want to do and how they want to proceed in that moment. Even if with every fiber of your being you feel that you should get involved and they're asking you please don't, please don't. I just really think in most scenarios you should really respect the wishes of your child.
Yeah.
So,
All right. I think this was a great conversation about self advocacy. We really hope that you do as well. And we'd really like to hear if you have any examples, parents, as how you've helped your child learn to advocate for themselves, or if you have any questions or want to reach out to Jessica and myself directly. We're available at info@parentcoachesunleashed.com. And we really look forward to you engaging with us and make sure to listen. We have a few amazing episodes coming in the month of July.
that's right. We have
So,
some great interviews coming up. And just go over and leave us a review after you give us a listen. We'd really appreciate it.
all right,
Thanks so
take
much.
care. Thank you.